Are you ready to go through the second part of this thing?
I think so. I think I am. Just in case, I put some Post-its in here,
Uh-oh.
um,
Yep.
ready to
You got
go.
it. Yep. Got your 100 deli skills ready. That's good. All right. So here we go. Hypothetical survival scenario. So you're taken into a room inside this house. Now handcuffs are added to your wrists in addition to the tape. Damn. A bag is placed over your head, and you are placed on a chair in the corner of the room. Do you, A, pretend to be asleep, hope the captor loses interest in you, or B, ask to go to the bathroom?
Wow. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, then I can assess what my escape options are, if there's any weapons, if there's any escape measures for picking or anything like that. I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
I think that's a good choice. Because we've come to the point where waiting around and playing it cool really isn't helping, right? So, you see what you can get out of this person by asking to go to the restroom. It's like you've been nice up to this point. Now maybe they'll give you something in return, and they say yes because you've been nice. They take.
I thought they might say no because they realize I already shit myself a while ago.
That would have gotten you to the bathroom maybe a little quicker. Just take a dump in your pants and
hose me down.
Let the odor be your weapon. All right. They take you to the bathroom, remove your hood, but not your restraints, and then they leave you alone in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. So you quickly check for supplies while you're in there, and you find a bobby pin. Do you A, flush the toilet, take the bobby pin with you back where you're being held? B, pick the cuffs in the bathroom and defeat the duct tape with force? Yeah, that's a tough one.
I mean, I think I'm gonna go with B. I'm gonna go with B because we're already outside of the initial room. Like, I don't want to be behind multiple tiers of doors you got to get through and stuff. So I think I'm going to defeat it in a limited space like that, where maybe I have a better advantage of dealing with this guy. So,
there we go.
I'm sure that's the wrong answer.
No, that's it. For this
Okay.
for this scenario, that is correct.
Okay.
B, so you pick the cuffs in the bathroom, you defeat the duct tape. So do you know how to pick cuffs?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And do you use bobby pins, or what have you used?
I literally had a shim made by a machinist, and when I was like 15, I had this leather band, and I created a thing where the shim could live in the metal band. And man, you pop that thing in, it's like having a key. It was so simple, just pop
So
it.
was it?
So yeah, I could just probably use a bobby pin. What's that? I'm sorry.
Was the shim somewhat hooked shape so that you could just
It was
sweep it?
Yeah, it was just super flat, like almost like a spring from. Yeah, exactly. So you come in from the back angle and clear, the locking mechanism, and then it popped open. But I think a lot of handcuffs now have like an alternate lock, like a little dot lock.
They have the double.
So
A lot of cops, if you're getting arrested, they don't. It really depends on the officer. Sometimes they just they cuff you and they don't hit that secondary lock. If they do, it becomes a lot more difficult to get out. And you can either defeat handcuffs, at the lock, or you can try and shim the ratcheting system, right? And that sounds like what you were doing, is putting a piece of metal between the teeth and the ratchet so that now the bracelets come off. They basically free feed in and out with when you put a shim in there. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, you're right. You're right on board here. And then breaking duct tape, getting out. I mean, we've talked about this before, but you're literally using your body as a wedge. And if you have the space, you put your arms out in front of you at eye level, and then you rocket your elbows past your rib cage, and your body will do the rest. And if you do it right, for those of you listening, you can do this, on a Friday or Saturday night, or maybe even Valentine's Day. But you can practice, and if you do it right, it'll look like the duct tape was cut with scissors. It's amazing. Wow. It's cool. I'm always surprised.
I'm gonna try that.
And I've done tests where, whenever I do my speaking engagements, I'll bring, 5 people up on stage, and the first person gets, 2 or 3 wraps. The next person gets 4 or 5 wraps around their wrist. And then, the next person 8, 9. And, by the time you get to the fifth person, we've got, upwards to 10 to 15 wraps around their wrists, right? Yeah. And then I'll have all of them put their hands up in front of them, eye level, and at the count of 3, rocket those elbows past their rib cage, and all 5 will come loose with this same amount of force, same amount of effort. It's so it works no matter how many times they wrap your wrist. It works. Okay.
Is there any major abrasion to the skin or anything with that, or is it? Pretty harmless, or
no? Yeah, the duct tape in itself is, just the stickiness will tear some hairs off your wrists. But other than that, no, it'll just shear it. It's so easy.
Wow. That's cool.
And then if your ankles are taped, same thing. You just basically point your toes out at 45-degree angle, almost like you're standing at attention, and your heels together, and then you just squat as fast as you can, and it'll shear the tape. So yeah. Anyway, you chose wisely. Okay, with your hands free, do you A, exit with free hands and attack your captor, knock them out and run, or B, put the cuffs and duct tape back on and have them believe that they're still restrained?
I'm lifting up that toilet seat cover and smashing a head when he comes through the door. I'm going A.
Yeah. So you're going for A?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
All right. Well, for this scenario.
Are you serious?
We're going to trick the enemy here.
Okay.
You're going to deceive them. Sticking with the theme of de-escalation, we won't try and start an altercation of any sort. And you now have the advantage because the crazy fan does not know that your hands are actually free. You're now left in the room alone. Your kidnapper leaves the room to attend to the kids in the house who are now screaming. Okay. There's a window in the room, and but the drop down is about 30 feet on the outside. So, last question. Do you, A, escape through the window and tell us a way to make it down without breaking a leg if you drop 30 feet, or B, sneak out of the room, down the stairs, maintaining a stealthy movement, and sneak out while your captor is distracted by the screaming kids?
Yeah, I'm going to go B. I mean, if you fall out the window, break the leg, you're screwed. And one thing I learned in elementary school, getting out of a fire, they said that was what is it? Your head is so much higher than your feet. Like your feet are going to hit first. So you have a few more feet of distance that are going to touch the ground before your head, but not 30 feet. That's too far. You're going to try to sneak down.
Yeah, basically the distance minus your height is really, how far you're going.
The contact distance. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, you're let's say you're 6 foot. You're how tall are you?
About 5'10", 5'11", something like that. I wasn't much shorter than you, I don't think.
So yeah, you just do some easy math, and then you kind of know. But ideally, you sneak out and don't risk the 30-foot drop, which you chose correctly. But since you're a magician, maybe you have a sneaky way to shim down like a ninja. But if it's a room and it's got the king-size beds, for example, I always tell people for hotel safety and security, right? You stay on a floor in which you can jump out safely, but sometimes that's not always possible depending on the occupancy of the hotel. So you might end up on the 3rd or 4th floor and always get a king-size bed, right? Because a king-size bed or a double queen, either one, both of them are great, but a king-size sheet is 12 feet from corner to corner, right? Diagonally. Yeah. And so, an average story is 10 feet. So you're going to use the 1 foot on each end of that sheet to tie some great whammy knots from sheet to sheet to sheet in order to escape that room. So that's another option if you find yourself in some crazy person's bedroom tied to a
I'm just
chair.
amazed you pick a bedroom on the 2nd story, that you think of that ahead of time. That's very interesting.
Well, it's... and when terrorism was an all-time high, the State Department, I mean, they, anybody who was traveling abroad, it was like, okay, how do I set myself up so that I don't have to worry about, that potential attack on a Western hotel in a semi-permissive environment overseas, you know, you were like, yeah, I want to probably be on the second floor, not on the first floor. You want to give yourself enough room to play cat and mouse with the bad guys if you need to. And then also, if you got to jump out a window, you want to be able to survive the jump. So, yeah. Anyway,
Wow. Interesting.
you did really well, actually. You got 80. You got an 80.
Nice.
You missed 2 out of 10, so you survived this podcast. You're listening to Can You Survive This Podcast? Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and share on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite shows.